going on this app. So I hope you're ready to feel that. I'm sure you are. And also coming up on the Wrestling Skull podcast, we're going to have the 20 Back series, which will start actually on the 28th of January. So that's on the Saturday, the same weekend as the Royal Rumble. And you guys can get yourselves in the mood with our first 20 Back episode, which will feature Royal Rumble 1997. So a long time again, we're going back in the time machine, but this time in 1997, and that's where we'll be. Matt, I think it's time for questions. I hope you're ready. Let's take some of these. First one we've got is Sags. Interesting name as always on our podcast. Some of these names that come in.
So what? No Brian Knobs?
Yeah, it's a good one. Sag says, World of Sport had it all, really enjoyed it as a show. My question is, will... it's a completely different question. I thought it was going to be to do with World of Sport. It's not. My question is, will Undertaker compete in the Rumble? I don't know what the heck the Undertaker's doing, because he come back a while ago, Matt, and said he wasn't going to be gone away anymore, and then he's gone away.
Yeah. And that would be a real head scratcher. Undertaker appearing in the Royal Rumble after the last kind of thing we heard him say was WrestleMania will not define me, so I'm going to enter a match where the point of winning it is to go to WrestleMania. It would be kind of a head scratcher, but it could be an interesting one, because if he wins that and he's challenging for the title, if John Cena picks up the title from AJ, then bang, we got that match that we've been waiting for.
Yeah, it'll be fascinating if they did go that route. And I wonder, Matt, whether the Undertaker, they put this on the Undertaker and say if he doesn't win, he has to retire, that kind of thing as well. And it's an all or nothing kind of run for him, to give it more meaning. I wonder if that's the only... Because the way I pictured it, Matt, is it'd be the other way round. That the Undertaker would be the guy holding the belt, and John Cena would be challenging for this 16th time. But I guess that's another route they could go if they did go that way. I suppose. Again, to be honest, I would say the Undertaker winning the Royal Rumble is probably still better than what I've seen in the last 3 years. So I probably wouldn't mind, even though it's a guy who doesn't really need it at all, and he's won the Rumble before. But I'd probably like to see that more than maybe some of these other ideas that we might actually get. So it wouldn't be it wouldn't be a disaster, but and certainly would have a lot of meaning if that was the case. And he said that, I think that would get everybody behind the Undertaker again. But it'll be interesting to see how that goes and plays out, because I'm not sure he will be in it. I have no idea. You never know. It could be something they even mentioned tonight. So who knows on that one. Thanks for your question anyway, Sags. Next question is from Josh. WWE heading into the Royal Rumble seems a much heavier roster than it was this time last year. Do you think WWE should make a move to make a new star like they did with John Cena many years ago? Well, I would say, Josh, it's easier said than done. But Matt, I get what you're saying. The roster is much more depth. This time last year, Matt, we had a lot of injuries going on, and of course Triple H had to enter and win the belt. It was that bad. With a full roster, many people always say when you've got your best there, you should always try and make the next guy whilst you've got all these names available. Is that? Do you think that's the case, and that they could be thinking it's time to make another name and another start for somebody new, or do you think it's going to be somebody who is all too familiar?
For me, I'd be thinking they would go the familiar route. It's just a case of who's ready to be taken to the top. I mean, we said before Kevin Owens was ready, and he proved himself on NXT level, but coming up and taking that belt, he hasn't really done much with it. So sometimes you can run into problems like that, and it's arguable to say that if Owens lost the title, has that belt really made him a top flight competitor? Because I would say not quite. He's not quite on that level of people like AJ and John Cena. But and also here, who would be ready? Would we be looking at people like Sami Zayn? Because it does kind of beg the question. I'd put Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens on the same level. And on that feud that they had, Sami Zayn actually got the rub from that feud. He should be the one who is a number one contender, but for some reason isn't. And like we saw with the Triple Threat on SmackDown, Baron Corbin proved himself to be very capable in title kind of matches. So if it was for me and they had to make someone, I would go with Baron Corbin.
Yeah, there are a few names in there that they certainly could do things with. Even Bray Wyatt, I would say, would be a big statement if he was to have done something. But I said that last year. I thought he was going to be the wild card, but again, as I said in last week's podcast, it was very not the greatest way to even get eliminated for him. I suppose a name that we haven't spoke about too much is Finn Balor, Matt. That there is the likelihood of him coming back on this sort of return and entering the Rumble, and I've seen it done before many a times where even Edge and other guys, like, they come back from these injuries, they're in it and they win. Triple H has done it. A whole host of names. John Cena. That is seems to be a formula that WWE uses a lot. But as I said last time, Matt, I fear for him if they do that, because I think that's ramming him down your throat a bit. If you automatically have him coming in and winning it straight away, somebody who's not really sort of known as as the Royal Rumble killer, a guy that can sort of eliminate everybody at will in a Rumble style match. Like, I get it if he was a big dude, but he's not really that sort of style either, is he? So I think that would be kind of damaging to him. And I know that sounds odd that don't win a Royal Rumble, but for his sake, Matt, and his longevity, I would say don't do it at this point in time. Or if they do it, they'd have to be bloody careful how they book it, because I do feel that in this day and age, with the way fans are, and when they get a sniff, Matt, that WWE picks their guy, that is it. It's all over, isn't it? It's game, match and set, isn't it? Almost that they're not having that. They're going to reject it.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to say, when Finn Balor does come back, I do kind of suspect that he will be thrust into the title picture anyway, regardless of a Royal Rumble kind of win or not. I mean, whether it happens after Kevin Owens, if he beats Roman Reigns, they could do it straight after that, have Finn Balor return, and that would be great. Or they could do it the next night on Raw. But I think the best time for Finn would be the gap between Rumble and Mania. Probably even better for him to pick up the title in between that time. Yeah, no,
I kind of agree with that. Actually, that's a good point. And I suppose what's also worth pointing out, Matt, just as we end this question, is that whoever does win, they're probably going to get that whole business of you can choose what title you want to wrestle for. So don't just think about guys on the same roster, because they could, you could have Finn Balor potentially winning and then, I don't know, challenging AJ or something like that. That is definitely a possibility, because I'm guessing, Matt, that's probably what will happen. Despite they used to say it has to be for your brand's title, but they can always change the rules when need be, Matt, as we've seen before with stuff like that.
There has been a few ones where they have had to select the title, so yeah, they could definitely, and it's a great little excuse for them to switch it up a bit. If one show is a little bit light on talent, like I said earlier with SmackDown, it's a great opportunity to send another guy over there to bolster it a bit. Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you for your question there, Josh. Stay Lucky is back in touch with us, and is there any truth to Kurt Angle coming back to WWE? I've heard about this all week. Just want to know your guys' opinion. If he does come back, what would WWE do with him? And then what would you actually do with him if you was in charge? So, thanks, Stay Lucky, for your question. Matt, Kurt Angle, have you heard anything about Kurt Angle on your end coming back? Because I've heard some things about him suggesting to people around him that he's not taking any more independent bookings and he's heading back to WWE. But in what capacity, I have no idea. But have you heard anything your end, Matt?
Yeah, only those snippets like you have. But, ever since he left in 2008, he's been that kind of guy that, he could have been back at any time. He's that kind of talent that you don't really pass up. I mean, I know WWE have had the opportunity to sign him before and it hasn't been the right time. But, at this point, it's getting to the point of now or never. He's not getting any younger. His talent is still there. Make use of him while you can. So... Yeah. If it was me, and if I was in charge of whether he could be there or not, I would have him there in some capacity. Inside the ring, outside the ring, anything is good as long as it's got him involved in it. He is a tremendous part of history of the WWE. So give the guy some credit and give him a job.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of matchups he could have, and there's some dream matches in there. So there definitely is worth having him there. I think for a WrestleMania type of match, but yeah, I personally, I'd have him there. What WWE would do with him, I have no idea at all, because it could be anything knowing those guys. So yeah, you never know. And of course, Stay Lucky always ends with his trademark, Stay Lucky. Okay, DX1. AJ, in my opinion, has to win and maintain his high standard to cement his legacy. What are the chances? Also, is Big Show returning soon? Okay, so first, Matt. I mean, as we said before, I think AJ's chances are actually pretty better than what you'd probably think. Just because of what Matt was saying earlier. Dude, is this really the night John Cena's going to win and tie 16, or are they going to wait even longer and have that chase somewhere else? I don't know. Matt, I mean, how important is it for AJ? Because the thing is with AJ is if Cena loses, there's plenty for him to do. But if AJ loses, it's is he going to get another WrestleMania like last year where he fought Chris Jericho and it was sort of like a ridiculous result considering what he was doing after WrestleMania, of course, challenging Roman Reigns for a couple of months and for some unknown reason wasn't able to beat him. Could it go that way, Matt, where AJ goes? Because I think if AJ loses the title, he goes way back, and we start seeing AJ as just another wrestler all of a sudden, depending on who he goes up against at WrestleMania in particular.
Yeah, I mean, this is the weird thing about AJ. I mean, he's a tremendous wrestler in that, but when he's wrestling at the mid-card level, it just doesn't feel right. It feels like now he's at the top of the company. It feels that that's where he belongs, that's where he should be, and if he's not the champion, he should be challenging for the title. So I would hate to see him lose and then just fall into the obscurity, because if we're going to talk about the year 2016, it was the year of AJ, He was the one that really took it and took the WWE to kept them going. I'm not going to say the company does keep going no matter who's at the top, but AJ, he really stepped up to the plate when they needed to. But with the injury with Finn, it could have been Finn's year, but it was AJ's. So if he loses it, I would be a little bit worried, because John Cena's a great champion in that, but there's a lot of people that just don't want to see that. And when SmackDown's as hot as it is, do you really want to risk that and shake things up?
Yeah, no. Also, he's obviously he's put about Big Show returning. I actually saw an interview with the Big Show recently on YouTube, and he's down to the lowest weight he's been since he was, I think, I'm going to say in the 90s, somewhere like that. He's lost a tremendous amount of weight, and he apparently wants to lose more. So he's definitely been getting in some big physical shape for a return. When that happens, I'm not sure. I guess Royal Rumble would make a lot of sense, Matt, but he's never done anything in it that's been amazing. If I was WWE, Big Show would be my version of Andre the Giant and would be chucking everybody out there like nobody's business. But they've never done that with him that much, have they? I mean, they've only just recently given him the Andre the Giant thing. So, I mean, this would be very late coming for a victory now. But Big Show for you, Matt, has he still got Has he still got presence, and is he still a valuable member to WWE and stuff for him to do?
Yeah, I mean, he's still an incredible kind of athlete. Still a once in a sort of lifetime person to see. You're not going to see too many people